History has just been written for Philippine tennis, and the shockwaves are echoing all the way to the iconic hard courts of Flushing Meadows. Welcome to another deep dive into the world of professional tennis. Today, we are bringing you a breaking story that is not just a massive milestone for one extraordinary athlete, but an unprecedented triumph for an entire nation. If you've been following the WTA Tour this season, you already know her name. But what she has just accomplished ahead of the year's final Grand Slam has completely changed the landscape of the sport. Alexandra Eala, the 21-year-old Filipina phenom, is officially on track to become the number 17 seed at the 2026 U.S. Open. Let that sink in for a moment. For the first time in the history of the sport, a player from the Philippines is set to enter the bright lights of New York not just as a participant, not just as a wild card, but as one of the top 20-seeded threats in the world. On the heels of a spectacular summer, Eala has skyrocketed to a brand-new career-high ranking of world number 18. And with the unfortunate injury and withdrawal of world number 15 Victoria Mboko, the mathematical dominoes have fallen perfectly into place. Eala moves up one crucial spot, securing the 17th seed, the absolute highest Grand Slam seeding of her entire career, completely shattering the number 29 seed she held at Wimbledon just last month. But why is this specific number so important? Why does being the 17th seed change absolutely everything about her upcoming campaign in New York? Because in the unforgiving jungle of a Grand Slam draw, your seed is your shield. By locking down this placement, Eala has practically guaranteed that she will avoid the heavyweights of sport in the chaotic opening rounds. As the number 17 seed, she is projected to face players ranked outside the top 60 for her first two matches, giving her a massive tactical advantage to build momentum before potentially running into a top 16 seed in the critical third round. This isn't just a lucky break. This is a culmination of a breathtaking, grueling, and fiercely fought 2026 season. She has earned every single ranking point. She has fought for every single victory. But the road to this historic seeding wasn't easy, and what she is about to face in New York could permanently define her career. In this documentary-style breakdown, we are going to uncover exactly how Alex Eala pulled off this historic climb, analyze the brutal path that lies ahead in the draw, and reveal why former world number 4 Greg Rusedski believes she has the firepower to do the unthinkable. But that's only the beginning of the story. To truly understand the magnitude of this number 17 seeding, we have to look back at the chaotic sequence of events that define the grueling summer hardcourt swing. The story begins just weeks after her historic campaign at the All England Club. Entering the North American swing, Eala was already carrying the weight of an entire nation on her shoulders. Her performance on the grass courts had proven she belonged in the upper echelon of the sport. But the unforgiving concrete of the U.S. Open Series is an entirely different beast. It is faster, the bounces are higher, and the punishing late summer humidity tests the physical endurance of every single athlete on the tour. If there were any lingering doubts about her ability to translate her game to the North American hard courts, they were quickly and decisively erased. From the very first tournament of the summer, it became incredibly clear that Eala had evolved. During her opening matches, analysts noticed a drastic shift in her tactical approach. She was no longer just relying on her elite defensive skills to outlast opponents in grueling rallies. Instead, she was stepping inside the baseline, taking the ball astonishingly early and dictating the tempo of the exchanges. Her signature left-handed forehand, already a dangerous weapon, had been re-engineered with heavier topspin, pushing her rivals deep into the corners and opening up extreme angles that left even the most seasoned veterans completely stranded. But it was not just her ground strokes that caught the attention of the tennis world. The real turning point came when observers examined her service numbers. Throughout the early stages of her professional career, the serve was often seen as the one vulnerable area in her game. Opponents would relentlessly attack her second serve, putting her on the back foot from the very first strike. However, after intensive adjustments with her coaching team, her service motion appeared completely revamped. The toss became more consistent. The disguise on her wide slice improved drastically. Suddenly, she was holding serve with absolute authority, eliminating the high-pressure service games that used to drain her energy in brutal three-set battles. This tactical maturity set the stage for a spectacular run through the preliminary hardcourt events. Match after match, she systematically dismantled players who had historically given her trouble. There was a newfound killer instinct in her eyes. When she secured an early break, she didn't just defend the lead. She accelerated, suffocating her opponents with relentless baseline aggression. Yet, despite this phenomenal summer momentum, securing a top 20 seeding in New York was never an absolute guarantee. The WTA rankings are incredibly volatile, with points constantly dropping and shifting based on previous year results. As the final entry deadline approached, Eala was hovering just outside the ultimate safety zone. She needed the math to work in her favor. She needed the standings to align perfectly. And then, the unexpected happened. News broke regarding the unfortunate status of world number 15, Victoria Mboko. In a sudden twist that sent shockwaves to the locker rooms, an untimely injury forced a last-minute withdrawal from the year's final Grand Slam. The shifting of the draw was instantaneous. As the names were adjusted and the seeding order was finalized by tournament referees, the mathematical domino effect rippled straight down to the 21-year-old Filipina. By moving up into the number 17 position, Eala didn't just secure a number next to her name. She secured a strategic lifeline. In Grand Slam tennis, the difference between being seeded number 17 and being unseeded is absolutely staggering. Unseeded players often face a terrifying reality, drawing a top 5 superstar in the very first round. Imagine walking onto Arthur Ashe Stadium for your opening match, only to stare down one of the most dominant, aggressive forces in the sport. It is a scenario that has crushed the dreams of countless rising stars before they even had a chance to settle into the tournament. But because of this historic seeding, Eala is protected. Her path through the chaotic early rounds is now shielded from the absolute heavyweights of the WTA Tour. The opening week, which is notorious for brutal upsets and crushing pressure, suddenly looks like a landscape full of massive opportunity. This is the exact breakthrough her camp had been plotting for years. It is a culmination of endless hours of practice, punishing physical conditioning, and unshakable mental fortitude that has come to define her identity on the court. However, what happened next surprised everyone. As the draw was officially revealed and her potential path to the second week was mapped out on live television, a collective gasp echoed across the tennis community. Few people noticed one crucial detail about the opponents standing in her way. The number 17 seed might protect her from the top-ranked giants in the opening rounds, but the tactical matchup she is about to face present an entirely different kind of danger. The road ahead is riddled with unseeded dark horses, dangerous floaters, and relentless counterpunchers who have absolutely nothing to lose. So, how will Eala navigate this treacherous path? And why are some most respected analysts in the sport suggesting that her biggest obstacle might not be her opponents, but something else entirely? To understand what lies ahead, we have to look closely at the tactical blueprint that brought Alexandra Eala to this historic threshold. When former world number 4 in tennis analyst Greg Rusedski sat down on live broadcast to break down the contenders for the North American swing, he didn't just mention Eala in passing. He highlighted her as one of the most dangerous, technically polished young players on the entire tour. In his words, her ability to redirect pace off both wings without sacrificing depth is a rare gift, one that fundamentally disrupts the rhythm of power hitters who thrive on predictable, heavy baseline rallies. So, what makes her game so uniquely lethal on the hard courts of New York? First and foremost is her left-handed geometry. In modern professional tennis, elite left-handed players possess an inherent, almost unfair tactical advantage. Eala uses her sweeping cross-court forehand to pull right-handed opponents out wide onto their backhand side, dragging them off the doubles alley before ripping a flat, punishing backhand down the line into open space. It is a classic brutal pattern of play honed over years of rigorous development at the Rafa Nadal Academy in Mallorca, under the watchful eye of elite coaches in Spain. She didn't just develop textbook strokes. She developed a relentless clay court mentality that she seamlessly translated onto lightning-fast hard courts. Her footwork is exceptionally crisp. Her split-step timing allows her to anticipate incoming fire a split second earlier than most, giving her the luxury of dictating exchanges rather than constantly reacting to them. Furthermore, look at the return of serve. Tennis matches at the highest level are rarely won solely on raw power. They are won in the return games. Eala's return positioning has become one of her greatest competitive weapons. By stepping well inside the baseline on second serve opportunities, she consistently neutralizes the server's advantage, applying suffocating pressure from the very first ball. When an opponent feels that their server's games are under constant assault, their entire tactical plan begins to fracture. However, sports journalism requires objective reality, and no championship run is without its vulnerabilities. If there is one glaring challenge that Grand Slam contenders face at this stage of their evolution, it is physical endurance during the second week of a major. The U.S. Open is famous for being the most physically demanding tournament in the world. The brutal heat, the intense humidity under the New York sun, and the late-night sessions that often stretch past midnight push the human body to absolute exhaustion. In a best-of-three set format where matches can easily exceed 2.5 hours of high-octane physical combat, maintaining baseline aggression without unforced errors creeping in is the ultimate test. Then there is the psychological dimension, a weight few players ever have to carry. Most players from traditional tennis powerhouses share the burden of expectations with dozens of compatriots. If an American, a Czech, or an Australian player falls in the early rounds, the national media quickly pivots to another home favorite. For Alex Eala, the dynamic is entirely different. She represents the hopes, dreams, and aspirations of over 110 million Filipinos across the globe. Every time she steps onto court, she carries an entire country's pride on her shoulders. In the past, that kind of suffocating pressure has broken some of the most gifted prodigies in sports history. The sheer volume of national anticipation can tighten a player's swing in critical deuce games, causing hesitation on the very shots they need to trust the most. Yet, those who have tracked her journey closely have noticed a remarkable psychological shift over the past 12 months. Instead of shrinking under the spotlight, she appears to draw strength from it. When thousands of fans in the stands wave the Philippine flag and roar after every winner, she channels that energy into an unyielding fighting spirit. She has learned the delicate art of emotional equilibrium, staying composed when points go against her, and staying completely ruthless when the finish line is in sight. The historical implications of this tournament cannot be overstated. A deep run at Flushing Meadows would not only cement her status as a genuine top 20 superstar, but it would also redefine what is possible for Southeast Asian tennis on the global stage. The stage is set. The preparation is complete. The seeding is secured. So what does the bigger picture look like for her career? And how could this single fortnight in New York permanently reshape the landscape of the sport? When we step back and look at the broader canvas of international tennis, what Alexandra Eala is doing transcends the boundaries of the sport itself. For decades, tennis at the highest professional level has been predominantly dominated by traditional powerhouses from Europe, North America, and Australia. Southeast Asia, despite its immense population and passionate sports culture, has rarely seen a homegrown talent climb into the upper stratosphere of Grand Slam draw. By entering the 2026 U.S. Open as the number 17 seed, Eala is not just breaking a glass ceiling. She is laying a brand new foundation for future generations. Young athletes in Manila, Cebu, and across the entire diaspora are no longer just looking at international icons on television for inspiration. They are watching someone who represents their own heritage, competing toe-to-toe with the greatest players on the planet. That cultural impact is profound, but on the court, her journey is only just getting started. At 21 years old, Eala is entering a phase of her career where potential transforms into sustained greatness. Winning a Grand Slam requires 7 consecutive victories against the fiercest competitors on earth. It requires navigating bad days, weather delays, tactical curveballs, and high-pressure moments where a single mistimed forehand can alter the trajectory of a season. Whether her breakthrough in New York results in a maiden quarterfinal appearance, a historic semifinal run, or an even deep pursuit of the title, one undeniable truth remains. She belongs here. Her ascent into the world's elite is not a flash in the pan. It is the calculated, hard-earned result of a player who put in the quiet work when no cameras were watching. From winning junior Grand Slam titles to grinding to the lower-tier professional circuits, and now earning her place among the seeded elite in Flushing Meadows, Eala has built her career brick by brick. The draw has opened a golden door of opportunity. The tactical tools are sharpened. Her mental resilience has been tested in the fires of competition, and an entire nation stands ready to roar behind every single point. Under the dazzling lights of New York, The world will be watching. History is waiting to be written. And for Alexandra Eala, the stage is finally set to turn a national dream into a global reality. Make sure to hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and drop a comment below letting us know your predictions. How far do you think Alex Eala will go in this year's U.S. Open draw? Thank you for watching, and stay tuned as we bring you every breaking update throughout the tournament.